Hey, what is up? What is up, YouTube gaming family? It is IK right here, back at it with another video for y'all today. I have some pretty good content for y'all today. I have a lot of good videos that I'm gonna be making right now, so definitely stay tuned when these videos do drop. This is gonna be my first video out of like I want to say maybe 3 or 4. But yeah, let's get right into it, man. We have a pretty good topic for today. Um, Also, before I get everything started, be sure to subscribe to Do Gaming Z. He's a good YouTuber that I like watching. He's very fun to watch. I'm watching his live stream while he's live right now. So, yeah, I'm gonna get my videos in before I doze off for the night. And yeah, I think this should be a pretty good discussion for tonight. Um, for tonight's video, we're gonna be talking about MK1, and then I got some like political philosophy videos, and then after that, I think that's about it. Oh, also, I'm gonna talk about Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I'll talk about the multiplayer trailer reveal, and I'll give you my whole take on that. And yeah, I think that's about it. I think like overall, um, I think this like uh yeah, I'm very sorry. I think with like the whole bunch of games that I'm going to be covering for tonight's videos, which, I'm only going to cover MK1. I'll do Battlefield because I heard some good news with Battlefield, and then I'll do Call of Duty Black Ops 7. So, yeah, let's get right into it, man. So, yeah. So for today's video, we have some pretty interesting, conversational means for MK1, and I think this topic is going to be interesting as I've always kind of wanted to talk about this, but will MK1 be officially a dead game after the most recent pro comp that will happen for this weekend, which is to be the biggest pro comp within Mortal Kombat 1 franchise tournament history? Which, for those of you that may not know, this upcoming weekend will be Final Combat. And Final Combat is going to be very interesting because what's really funny about Final Combat is like all the best players are gonna be showing up at this event. You got Sonic Fox, you got Connie Mani, you got Scorpion Prox and his brother. I forgot who the other guy's name is, but the Chilean twin guys, and you also have who else? You got Gurr. He's a really good Garrus player. I like watching him a lot. You have Rewind. Rewind. He's gonna be doing pretty good. And then there's there's this one Mexican gamer, competitive player for Mortal Kombat. His name is Shuleta. He can he can play. Um, Honestly, man, I don't really care for like most of these guys because I think most of them just play broken characters. Um, I will say, like, however, like, if this tournament ends up becoming very competitive, where, you may see some teams that you may not have seen before that could actually make it to the high level, um, I'm gonna be pretty surprised, I wouldn't be too surprised with obviously, with any, like, like, oh, man, I'm so sorry. I wouldn't be surprised if you see any characters that are not being used as much, like Natara, Johnny Cage. Well, I mean, Johnny Cage gets used, but a lot of people just spam with the Homelander Farah. They do the Scorpion Farah. You'll see Johnny Cage's here and there, but Johnny Cage is kind of like he's like a backdoor pick. He's not really like a main pick that everybody goes with. Um, you do see other characters like, I don't know. I would say from time to time, Rain characters. I mean, you do have Kung Lao's with obviously online Kale, which I'm very surprised with online Kale because he's really made me give him a little bit of respect. I don't entirely think online Kale is like the almighty best player out there within Mortal Kombat. Like, yes, he did win CEO, or I think it was Was it CEO or was it I think it was CEO. Either it was CEO or it was Texas Showdown. I forgot what he won, but he won some prominent tournament that Sonic Fox was in, and I do I do remember Online Kale making some big noise with what he was doing. Like, truth is that I think Mortal Kombat where it stands right now is officially a dead game. The reason being is simply because the player base has significantly been very stale. Granted, people still get this game. People still want to play it. People still like the fact that it's Mortal Kombat. So it kind of has its Call of Duty effect where people do like the game and they will pay money to pay for a game that's worth looking good on their console. But in the in the laws of economics, I don't think any game that's not given the consumer for what they're fully paying for is not going to live up to the hype. So it's like supply and demand does play into a massive factor where if you're not giving the consumer what they're paying for, eventually people will be mad and they don't want to basically put their money into something that's not worth, paying for. Now, my whole take on MK1 is that I think this game does not have anything else left to prove. I think Mortal Kombat will remain to be a very bad game simply due to the fact that this game does not reward defense. This game basically gives you a lot of offensive mechanics that gives you broken BS in the game. Now, compared to other Mortal Kombat's, I will say MK1 has done way better compared to other MKs because I can talk about Mortal Kombat 3 where a lot of things that I didn't realize that was broken in the game were super broken once you had YouTube exposing all the broken mechanics in the game. If you guys really want to know some broken BS that was in MK, Ultimate Mortal Kombat 3 or UMK3 or at least MK Trilogy, there were cases where I want to say Raiden, he had an infinite loop where he can kind of just basically put you into a loop where he can kind of use teleport where once he launches you he can kind of just keep doing it over and over and over. So there's no particular limitation on having to nerf Raiden's infinite where he's just able to do that. But I mean, if you guys want to talk about maybe some other crazy broken BS, take a look at Cyrax. Cyrax can infinitely loop you. He has the bomb setups where he could just keep on doing that every single play and he doesn't have to get whiff punished for it at all. Cabal, he has infinite, he has infinite looping where he could just infinitely mix you, to death without being punished for what he does. I think Cabal players are by far the trashiest players on planet Earth, but I just think how they play does not signify good gameplay. I will say Mortal Kombat 1 has beat most of the MKs from the 3D era and the 2D era. Don't get it twisted, this game still has problems, but what I'm trying to say is that if you guys are looking at the parameters of what makes a good game, at least a good fighting game, or just games in general, you should understand by your own particular consumer, mindset that if a game is not giving you what you want, you're not going to go play it. At least with MK1, this game has done pretty good in terms of the sales as far as just the game coming out. Before the game even trashed, and then now everybody's saying, yeah, screw this game is horrible. I believe this game had sold over 6.5 million copies, which is larger than any other MK game that has been out. I think MK11 had done at least I want to say 3 to 5 million copies. MKX did a good 2 to 4 or 2 to 5 million. No, I think it was 2 to 3 million or 2 to 4 million copies. So, I mean, it's really good. I think MK1 has its faults, but in terms of how far this game has gone, it's just I just don't see really much definitive how should I say, definitive failures that has been brought with this game in terms of if this game was really that bad, we would have seen, let the numbers drop really quickly, and there wouldn't be that many copies being sold. It would have been at least less than, I want to say maybe like a million copies at best. But I mean, 6.5 million copies for like what MK1 was able to do. I mean, NRS can very well make a good killing out of MK games because, Warner Brothers, they have like their crazy, intellectual property nonsense where they're able to just, massively just take advantage of like putting games out there and then just basically using it for their own, I guess, for their own benefit. So I think honestly, man, like in terms of like where everything has gone. Um, oh yeah. By the way, that was like a good fatal blow by Do. Yeah. Oh man, come on, please kill him, kill him. Come on, come on, come on. All right, come on, get him, get him. Use a punch? No, 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 bro. Oh my God, yo, bro. Homelander players all suck, dude. Homelander players suck. Trashlander. I am gonna put that in. I'm gonna put that in the chat. Trash lander. Trash lander. Trash lander BS. Bro. Homelander players all suck, man. Hold on, give me 1 second. Alright, I'm back. So yeah, sorry about that. I was just having to basically, dip into the chat for Dew's live stream, and yo, Homelander players are so trash, man. I hate Homelander. But yeah, I mean, even for stuff like that, I mean, a lot of like true MK critics that don't like the game, that think that this game isn't good. I get it. This game has not done a good job in terms of what we expected as a community to say that MK should have given us what we deserve. But the thing is that we have to understand that in terms of what we paid our money for this game, this game has at least done a pretty solid job in terms of what the consumer can get out of this game. Let me, actually state like my points before I even get back to like the pro comp situation. Um, we have, some pretty good skins in the game. All the ninjas are literally in one game, which I think is really amazing. I don't think you'll ever get any other game like that for Mortal Kombat alone, simply because if you have ninjas, premiering let the game to be on the main roster, which I'm not, I'm not actually not going to say all ninjas because Tremor, he was supposed to be a main roster character and he should have been because he had everything within his within his kit to be a main roster character, and I find that really disgusting that he wasn't on the roster. I found that disrespectful. Also, Chameleon should have been in the roster, and then even with Pink Floyd being a possible brand new character for maybe the next Mortal Kombat game, yeah, he should have been on the roster, which I'm actually going to talk about Pink Floyd, why I think Pink Floyd would make a really good character for the Mortal Kombat lore, and then I'm also going to explain why Chameleon and Pink Floyd should actually have maybe either a evil like alliance or some sort of like rivalry similar to like Sub-Zero and Scorpion. But my whole take is that this game has done a pretty decent job in terms of like how far that we can go as a fan base to actually support it. Granted, this game is not perfect. This game has not done the things that we fans wanted to see out of Mortal Kombat. But I will say is that if you think about the ends justifying the means as far as the best Mortal Kombat game that has came out, I would say personally MK1 has done a pretty solid job with giving us what we want for a decent part. I'm not going to say for the most part because there are things that I will criticize that this game should have given us. We should have had lobbies in this game similar to Mortal Kombat X or Mortal Kombat, 11, where you can just go right in and just hop into a lobby. And if you don't want to, run versus mode, having to find that one player that's just trying to be like an absolute douchebag, trying to teabag you and just be like an absolute, toxic piece of crap, and you just want to be in a good competitive casual lobby where people can just challenge you here and there. And let's just say if you want to have like a little chat system where you could like say, hey, does anybody want to run first to 10 with me or first to 5? Like I think that's something that NRS should have done with this game to grow it more. On top of that, crossplay should have been optimized a lot better. Crossplay definitely did not feel good. Compared to MKX, I think MKX has way better netcode compared to um, MK1. Well, actually no, I'm gonna probably backtrack off of that because MKX had problems, but MK1's crossplay, it wasn't even out on particular release, and obviously MKX never had crossplay. But I'm just saying, as far as like the connection, as far as who you could play up against, there is better connection in terms of you could you could face somebody from another country, as long as their country probably met your bandwidth of how far like your Wi-Fi can actually travel out to in terms of like the the megabytes or the speed that your Wi-Fi has. So I mean, it is very much possible to do so, to have a good competitive match with somebody from another country, like let's just say Brazil or maybe like Argentina or maybe Cuba. Well, I'm not too sure about Cuba, but yeah, I'm just putting that out there to say that the Mortal Kombat netcode is actually pretty decent and pretty good for MK1. It's obviously not the best because there should have been a lot of fixes with PC players not having to properly connect with console players. I think that they should have added crossplay into the game on day one, and then they should have just patched it from day one. I just think NRS did a really crappy job, like not even giving us the ability to have like Wi-Fi filtering, where if we want to have a strong connection, we as Mortal Kombat players should have the ability to filter that out. And then on top of that, while we're waiting for a match, we should be able to look at the connection to see how stable it is, and we should be able to train while we're in training mode, so therefore we can get right into matches. I think that's something that should have been put into the game. Also, the crypt, should have been put into the game instead of invasions. Honestly, I really thought invasions was gonna be like another conquest mode where you could just like choose basically whatever character that you want, but you basically run your own worldview of you facing other characters. But how it works is that you don't get into like full level fights. You get into like, let's just say, like character level fights where you're doing like a third person like battle up against other bosses. Like I think something like that would have been a lot better, or just have something like, I don't even know, have something where you can make it fun, like Mortal Kombat Conquest mode, similar to what Taven was doing in the story, but just give that character the ability to kind of run through the story. You go through other characters, kind of make it similar to Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks, but just make it a small game mode where you're able to kind of run through every season, but then you're going up against like the main character boss, but you're actually fighting them in a third world. Yeah, like I don't even know, like a third world battle per se. That, like, to me, I would find that way more fun compared to just you playing invasions all day, and then invasions is just absolute dog shit because it's like nobody cares about playing invasions. Like, granted, I like playing invasions just to get those skins, but it's like I should not need to do that. I should not need to waste my time spending at least maybe a day's worth or maybe 2 days worth to get invasions done, and then somehow that's okay. No, that's not okay. So overall, out of 10, I'm gonna rate Mortal Kombat 1 a good solid 8.02 out of 10. I'll give it a B plus. Well, no. Actually, no. I'm gonna give it a solid 7.5. Like, the game is, like, honestly, look, the game is fine, but the game really lacks a lot of content simply because NRS did a really crappy job, and in terms of analyzing what was good for the fans and what they could have done better for the game, they decided to just kick the can down the road to just make people more, upset and pissed off. So therefore, everybody's not really satisfied with the game. So it kind of just gives people, let the poor incentive to be like, you know what, why am I playing this game? This game is trash. And I get it. Like, I think this game has done really horrible for the fans. But if you compare this to MK11, MKX, MK9, in terms of like the gameplay mechanics of what you're able to do, I would say MK1 is like the best game to give you a little bit more freedom to kind of like play the game, semi competitively. It's still a party game. Don't get it twisted. It's just that this game does not give you enough broken BS to kind of get away with everything. And granted, you've just seen it with like, with, Do Gaming Z's, footage with, Sub-Zero and Homelander. Homelander is obviously still broken after having all these little minor nerfs, and then he's still able to use Farah and be given full safety doing whatever he wants. Like, that should not be allowed in Mortal Kombat at all. Like, you should have the ability to have defensive options with any character that you use in a Mortal Kombat roster to beat the living crap out of them and win exchanges off of being smart. That's like, personally with me, that's just how I see Mortal Kombat being. I just don't understand like why NRS doesn't do it. I think they're doing themselves a really horrible a horrible horrible disservice to the audience that supports them, and therefore this game is not growing. So I think overall, this game is definitely a solid game, but compared to like MK9, like that game was super broken, and there was so many bugs in that game where characters were just able to do broken stuff in the game. The online servers were really not that good. The lobby system was actually brand new, so it wasn't really that great. I mean, granted, compared to like MK Deadly Alliance and Deception days on the PS2, I think MK9 was 10 times worse compared to that. And I mean, even back in the PS2 days, you were like, it wasn't really that possible for you to kind of like play online, with people that you possibly knew, because of the problem with the servers with the, like, was that PS2 days were not really fully optimized. So therefore, NRS was not, well, Midway at that time, they weren't properly, equipped with the best technology to kind of like give you the best servers. So you kind of had to just play with whoever you saw online, and on top of that, you had to be connected to a Ethernet connection. So, well, that wasn't always to be the case. Like, you could do a well, actually, yeah, you did, because even if you did try to use like a let's just say a external, USB to Ethernet connection, portable like adapter, which I did that before, and I know that did cost some money to buy. I want to say at least maybe like a good $30 to $35 back then, because this is in like the early 2000s. So when the 3D era came, that came in at least when I was like I want to say maybe like a good like 10 to like 13 years old. But I mean, overall, like, the 3D era did not really give you the ability to kind of do whatever you wanted to do on the PS2. But the PS2 was still fun, and you were still able to play Mortal Kombat games like you were just having fun like every single day. And then, to this day, I still keep my PS2, and like, dude, I'm gonna keep that until I can, pass that down to like my kids, or just keep that till the day I die. I don't know, but I'll probably just have it like around for, for anybody, like my children or whoever. I don't care. But yeah, I think overall this game has done pretty solid. It would have been nice that if we had seen more content with patching the game more. I think the game would have been way stronger if this game was fully patched, where everybody was balanced out and it was just purely competitive. The cameo system should have never been in the game. I think that's the biggest fail out of this game. The content should have been expanded better. The combat pack should have been better. Homelander Farah should have never been a thing. Omni Man should have never been brought to the roster. I would have been better to see like Astaroth from Soul Calibur, or at least, I don't even know, Dark, like, Dark Vader, or Darth Vader. Like I think there's way better characters that could have had a much more stronger Mortal Kombat scary story to their name compared to like Homelander and fucking Omni Man. Excuse my French, but I think overall this game has done pretty solid. As far as Final Combat goes, I don't know how this game is gonna go out. I think Final Combat is gonna be the final biggest tournament that you're gonna see in Mortal Kombat history, as far as like FGC tournaments, because for those of you that may not know, Final Combat is at least a $200,000 prize pool, and what's gonna happen with Final Combat is that everybody's basically gonna be competing at the highest level, and whoever makes it out, at least in the top eight. I know that the top eight, they're gonna get paid really good. Well, I wouldn't say really good, but they're gonna get paid some good, decent money, where people are going to get some good prize money. I think if I'm not to be mistaken, if you make it to top eight, you'll get at least, I want to say, maybe $2,000 to $3,000. I forgot. Like I know first place obviously gives the winner, maybe that being Sonic Fox being the projected winner. He's probably gonna get like $70,000 to $80,000, and then second place will get at least like 40K. Yeah, I'll probably say like 40K. And then everybody else will probably get, maybe like third place is gonna get like 5 to 8 thousand, and then they're probably just going to distribute it equally between everybody, because honestly, if you make it to top 8 and you don't win the whole tournament, that's still good enough for you to kind of like be happy that you were there, you actually like gave it your all. But it's like, there's really nothing that you can say that you did wrong. Like, granted, there's going to be some broken BS teams that are going to be brought into this game. And actually, speaking of just characters, I really wish characters that actually took skill, like Ermac, he should have been used more in tournaments. The thing is that nobody does not use Ermac like that, because they don't have true skill to actually put their focus into Ermac, and two, they're very afraid of like thinking like, oh, Ermac doesn't have a true projectile, so therefore you're not really able to have pure safety with him, because that's really why people use kind of like the broken top tiers, like Scorpion. Scorpion has a good fast spear, where his startup frames are very good for you to be safe with the spear. Kung Lao, the same way. His projectile is fast enough to win a trade for him to be successful. Johnny Cage, even though that he doesn't have a projectile, his shadow kick is actually fast enough for you to win a projectile trade. It's not always effective, but you can sometimes use it whenever you need an armor to force the fight to be more up close. Let's see. Characters like Cyrax, she could just spam her dumb net BS crap for her to be like successful in doing that. The good thing about her net is that, if I'm not to be mistaken, her foam, I believe that her foam actually got nerfed, where you could actually kind of like throw a projectile over it. So therefore, if she tries to like spam that, you could just throw your projectile, and then that goes right through her foam, which I think that's a good nerf. But on top of that, I really wish that her infinite loop BS actually got nerfed, because that's really like the biggest issue that a lot of people don't talk about with Cyrax. She's able to kind of just spam, like the infinite, throw loop nonsense, where she's not able to really get punished for it, and I think that's really stupid. She should get automatically tech throwed she should automatically get whiff punish if you had flawless blocked her throw, or if you if you up block it. I think that should be something where if you flawless or up block it, she should not be able to do that. So therefore, even if you are blocking, Cyrax should not be able to tech throw you into a Serena combo loop, where she's able to just kind of like drain your meter. She's able to spend her own par to drain your meter faster with Serena's, drain meter ability. Like, I just think that's just BS, and that's stupid. You know, Homelander, the same thing. He infinitely command grabs you with Farah, and it's just absolutely dog shit, and it's ass. Peacemaker, even though Peacemaker used to be broken, but he's nerfed now. You know, people like I don't see Peacemaker in tournaments, but best believe some idiot out there that's probably gonna go out to Final Combat this weekend. I don't even know who, like, I don't know how many people signed up for this tournament. I'm gonna say at least like a good solid, maybe at least 800 to maybe at maximum 2,000 people. But it's like nobody, like honestly, nobody's going to be dumb enough to fall for Peacemaker BS combos. But best believe somebody's going to be spamming Peacemaker in a game. But the thing is that most people that were using top broken tiers that had projectiles was Havoc, Homelander when he was broken, when he was super broken before he even got nerfed with the forward four and all that nonsense. He was being used a lot in tournaments. You know, in previous tournaments like CEO, Texas Showdown, bro, it's just insane. Homelander was being spammed. Omni-Man was being spammed to death, which, you know, I don't understand why he even got like a buff with his nonsensical like back forward back four or back four nonsense where he's able to kind of use his knee to kind of use like an overhead safe combo. Dude, it's so stupid, man. But yeah, I mean, characters that were being spammed a lot, like Sector, Cyrax, let's see, Takeda still broke. Shang Tsung is broken. Sindel, Tremor, broken. Sadly but surprisingly, nobody ever uses Melina nor Kitana, and those two characters are broken. Nobody uses them like that. I do know that one British player that Sikander had fought up against. I think his name was like Nuji. Yeah, Nuji. He used Melina in a tournament, and I know that he went up against who did he go up against? Tweety? Yeah, Tweety. That was in Rips Arena. But I mean, Tweety, like out of all players, bro, he like, dude, he just spammed like fucking T1000. You know, in I forgot what tournament it was. I think it was Texas Showdown or at least CEO. I think it was CEO. It was either CEO or Combo Breaker. Dude, Tweety was spamming the crap out of, like, you know, out of T1000. But it just pretty much comes to show like the MK community is pretty stupid with having bias with who's broken and who's not broken. I really wish characters like Sub-Zero was actually used more at the higher level tournaments, because Sub-Zero is a good character when you play him right. But if he was given his legacy movesets where he wasn't being nerfed for his slide, his clone, his ice ball, and everything that he's good at doing, Sub-Zero would be dominating like right now. But it's not going to be like Sub-Zero being brain dead. Sub-Zero would just be Sub-Zero, where, you know, you just have to be smart. That's all. You just have to think about what your combo should be. I think like the thing about it is that a lot of dumb Sub-Zero players that try to hold him back to say Sub-Zero doesn't need this, he doesn't need that. He just needs to have like a couple things buffed and then he'll be fine. I just think that's like a coward's way out of saying that you don't want Sub-Zero to be strong enough to the point where, even at a high level, Sub-Zero should have the ability to be basically viable, or to even be good enough where you could actually play him. I think, like, when you even look at characters like I should say, when you look at characters like Lee Mei, Kenshi, or Natara, those characters never get used a lot in tournaments, but yet they're still OP to use. Even Baraka, he's OP to use, but nobody really ever uses him in a tournament. You want to know why? Because everybody's so used to playing characters that gives them free combos, where they're able to spam the projectile and spam command grabs basically for free. The command grab nonsense should be with punishable if you're blocking with an up block or flawless block. If you're spamming that just to get like a free combo, no. you should be automatically whiff punished, because like compared to Omni-Man, I know that his command grab, if you block correctly where you don't like let go, of your block button, you're able to basically whiff punish his his command grab. So therefore, you're able to combo punish him right away. So I just think overall, man, like there's just way too much nonsense in this game. And, obviously, as you kind of see it, with, Mortal Kombat, this game definitely rewards a lot of stupid shit. But I think where it stands right now, man, we're going to wait and see what happens with Final Combat. And, y'all know me, I'm going to come right back and give like my whole take on Final Combat and kind of explain like who I thought did well, who I thought didn't do well, and most of them are just trash. But yeah, I'm basically just gonna say what I need to say, because I think this is a pretty decent game. But obviously, that the broken BS that you see in this game, like people just spamming combos and getting combos, for free. I don't think this game should be rewarding people of playing offensively stupid, and then they're able to just get away with it. At least a good thing about MK1, you're able to break combos, while you're being mixed up in the air, or at least you're able to break fatal blows being like applied to you. Good thing is like breakers are 3 bars. So I mean, you're not able to be spamming breaker every 2 bars. So because I can actually understand that. And before I go, like I used to have a particular issue where breakers were taking like breakers taking 2 bars were kind of like stupid. And at one point I was thinking that was fine, but then when I was trying to level out breakers being used, um, at least with 3 bars, I thought it was kind of dumb at first, but then once you kind of thought about it, people that are spamming breakers a lot with up to 2 bars, they were getting away with free safety to kind of get away from not being particularly punished. So I think overall, that's just why breakers are kind of better when you have like 3 bars, because at least with that, you're kind of able to just do whatever you want, and if the enemy does something stupid where you're able to whiff punish them after they just basically use like their breaker way too early, and then they're just trying to find that offensive damage, pressure to kind of beat you down, then yeah, then you're able to beat their ass a lot better. So I think overall, it's a really good thing that that we have that. All, I think also one more thing before I go, I kind of wish anti-airs were given to every character, and every character had a defensive, armor, armor breakaway type of move where they're able to kind of just break away from pressure in the corner, and then that would make like the game a lot fun. So I used to be a proponent of supporting the parry system, to think that would be good in Mortal Kombat, but now that I think about it, I don't really think that's a good idea, because a lot of people would just be perma spamming. So yeah, I think overall, I pretty much said what I needed to say. So let me know what you guys think, and yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Final Combat, man. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Peace out. Let me know what you guys think, and until we meet again, guys. All right, I'll see you guys. Bye.